So a couple of weeks back, I got some feedback from all you guys just to see, what extra things could I add to the program. And I thought maybe get Abdu, one of the brothers who's making 12.5K pretty consistently. I think he closed his first 3K client yesterday and got his first video testimonial. So he's doing very, very well in that way. And I thought maybe get him to come and give you guys sales coaching, but I was like, who could be better? How about the person that taught me sales and who literally taught me the basic fundamentals of mindset, while I was starting out? So this is Ryan. Now he's closed over 10 million pounds worth of deals in multiple different industries. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, it's in e-com, real estate, tax. You also worked in potato chips. Now you're working in the trading industry. I'm not sure. There are probably more as well. But anyway, 10 million pounds is about 17.8 million Canadian. And you can do the math with USD. I haven't calculated that. But he is the person to go to if you want to learn sales. And what we'll do, Ryan, is if you want to give a bit of a short intro, and then we'll get on to the slides that I prepared. And we'll just kind of start the sales training from there. Yeah,
awesome. Thanks, Azam. And hello, everyone. I can't see you all, but I take it you're all there behind the screen. So nice to meet you all and speak with you. I'm looking forward to any questions you guys have got along the way. I'll do what I can to help. I've been in sales for the best part of 14 years now. Began in the UK doing my own door-to-door for gardening services and just kept upping it every year and sort of sharpening my skills and making sure that I could craft the skills I wanted going in the arenas that I have. So I've been B2B, B2C. I've worked in some of the hardest environments, some of the easiest ones, and everything in between. So when I come to give knowledge, I've actually walked the walk. I don't like to do the talking unless I've actually done it. So if I haven't done it, I will admit I don't know the answer, but I'll still try to help you either way.
Absolutely. No, what we'll do is, Ryan, just to make it very simple for the people that are watching, it's great that you're so knowledgeable, but we need the information in a way where we can easily understand it. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've prepared this presentation and kind of structured things in the way that I teach them sales and the structure that we kind of use in sales. But what we'll do is basically, let's see if you approve of it or not. And then if you want to add more points on each presentation. So let me just share the screen. And Ryan, you might hear a bit of Muslim lingo like inshallah, stuff like that. I'm sure you're going to predict that because we're all in that community over here right now. But yeah, guys, we'll move very, very quickly through each slide. And then if there is things that you don't understand, you can just drop a 2 in the chat. 1 if everything is good. So I will ask you to do that between the presentations. But for right now, let's get straight on to the topic of today's presentation. So number 1 is sales training, and number 2 would be the best advice that I've got from Ryan and other mentors that I've had so far. Now, Brian, just to let you know, so you have context behind what I'm teaching them. Simply put, I'm just teaching them arbitrage of services, meaning we just look for services that are in demand in US, UK, Canada, in different niches. I've given them offer statements, guarantees, etc., that they know, okay, these are definitely working. It's in demand right now as well. So we take that, we go out in the market, get clients. Once we do, we have this guy in the program called Awais who already knows lead gen ads. So it's basically helping them start lead gen agencies because it's a done for you model. And it's basically the simplest way that they can outsource it. And they don't have to worry about the headache of having a done with sort of program or service. So the sales structure that I've taught them, and obviously I've got it from you, is number 1, step 1, simply start with finding intent. Judge their interest. Why are you on this call? How can I help you? Let's say you're speaking to an accountant. Hey, what made you book in a call? Is it more kind of sales issues? Is it a marketing issue? Is it a lead generation issue? What is the main issue at the moment? Number 1, finding intent. The reason why they booked in a call with you. Number 2 is dive deeper into the intent. Let's say they say, hey, the issue over here is more lead generation. I don't get enough potential prospects to sell to. So you dive deeper into that pain. You say, tell me more about that. Like, how long has that been an issue? And what else have you tried? Probably just kind of go into that problem by asking them 2 to 3 follow-up questions. Then the third part would be finding a quantifiable goal, meaning, hey, okay, fair enough, you've been struggling with lead generation, but let's say if we had to give it a number in the next 4 to 6 months, where would you actually like to get to? Is it 10 more clients, 20 more clients, 30 more clients? And then ask them, hey, why? Is it more that at that point you feel like you'll be able to grow your firm further, hire more people so you can get more free time? Or is it more just that satisfaction of moving forward? Like, what's the big why? Why attach an emotion to that quantifiable goal? So these are the first 3 parts that we've got for the sales structure. We don't use a script because I had never used a script when we were doing the sales agency, and I hate scripts. And then the fourth one would be, what's stopping them? What have they tried so far? As in, they would say, hey, we've tried Facebook ads, it didn't really work out. We've tried referrals, it was too slow. It was this, that, whatever the case is. What's stopping you from doing it yourself? Last one would be summarizing that you fully understood the human that you're speaking to, making sure that they feel comfortable with you as well and you're on the same page before moving forward, and then showing them the guarantee, the offer statement. We have very, very simple direct offer statements that I've got for a couple of niches, which is I help this niche get this many clients within the next 90 days guarantee. So very, very simple, classic direct response, simple, going after one person, desire, risk reversal, simply showing them the offer statement in their context. Hey, John, I know you mentioned you've been struggling with leads and you want to get 20 more clients, and so you can do blah, blah, blah. This is the guarantee. This is how we can get that for you. You understand that I can help you. We connect. Let's get it done. Ask for the sale. And if there is an objection, and interestingly enough, Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, the typical, you've run sales agencies as well, so you know that the typical closing rate is about 20% on the worst case, right? When I was working with you, mine was 50 to 60 pretty consistently, but typically it's about 20%. What I've told them is they will close 10%. So very, very realistic. As in, even if they don't objection handle, if someone says no when they ask for the sale, even if you just didn't do anything, after 30 taking calls, you would get 10 closes. Am I wrong? Am I wrong over there?
You're completely correct. I mean, even in the harshest environments in the UK, we were used to a 1 in 3. So I think 1 in 10 is very, very achievable.
Absolutely. Even if you don't know sales or you're not a people's person or anything like that. So everything is very, very realistic, very numbers based. So if they were to give you an objection, if you did want an objection handle, we solve the root issue. What's the actual problem? Like we've discussed, you've had this problem, you want to get here. What's the actual problem? So here's the structure. There's nothing more to it. There's no scripts. I've given them a structure. So far, what you've seen, is there anything that you'd like to add, or is there any slide that you like to go back to? Anything that you want to go through first?
I'd like to put it to vote for everyone listening where they may want to focus in on more. I think you've nailed it with the structure you've given them. It works. This is a very proven framework.
Absolutely. Like it's something that I've got from you and a couple of others as well. Like it's a proven framework. You don't need to go into complexities of it. There's nothing much more to add. Like guys, would you like us to go slide by slide from the start and cover each thing? It's a proven for, yeah, it is. And Shah, for the people that don't know, he's in the real estate industry. He's closed big deals, so he understands this is kind of, you use the same structure everywhere and it works. So yeah, just quickly asking guys, would you like me to go presentation by presentation, and you can ask Ryan questions on how you can do each step, like getting the intent, pain, pleasure, etc., or would you rather just ask questions at this stage? So 1, if you'd like to do step by step, or 2, if you want to directly ask him questions right now, please just drop them in the chat. So 1, let me see, 1 response so far. I need a couple more. Okay, so we're seeing 1. So most people, I'm guessing that you want to go slide by slide. Okay, cool, no problem. So find intent. So Ron, if you had to just briefly kind of summarize what finding intent takes, like when you're first speaking to a lead, like what does finding intent take? Like what do you have to do? Like what are you looking out for?
Yep. So I'll take it just one step prior to this, just before you actually get on the call. One thing I would actually add to this would be your sort of physical and mental preparation before you start speaking to this lead.
Mhm.
And it kind of begins from there. So if, depending on the offers you've got, you'll have the booking come in, you'll see the lead's name and maybe their social media. There's nothing stopping you from doing a bit of research on them beforehand and sort of maybe already pre-gauging what intent they may have, depending on the market you're in. People are quite open with their social media. So you could tend to find things about maybe what they've done in the past, what they're looking to do. If you can do that, great. It gives you an advantage when you go on the call. If not, when you're on the call, it's as simple as just asking, what brings you here today? And actually listening. Don't feel that you have to fill the void and the silence and trying to create this narrative early on. Just let them talk and actually take note of the things they've given you. And a lot of the time you can start hearing the bigger picture with what they're telling you. And from there, you can go in a bit deeper, a little bit more questioning, just to understand their reason for being here. I won't go too advanced with it today, but you can sometimes hear the language they use specifically. And the words they'll tell you will give you a big indication of where their interest may be or their intent. But for everyone that's just getting started with it, the simple thing is just asking them what brings you to the call today.
You don't give like a proper response, because I've had it sometimes as well. When a lead doesn't respect you that much, etc., they might show some resistance as in, I don't know, I'm just here to see what you have to offer. And like, how would you actually get it out of them? Like, what's the right wording? And if, let's say, for example, the first try, it doesn't happen properly, how would you say it again?
So if we're looking, so I take it, are we looking at warm leads or cold leads? These are ones that you've just canvassed and booked in?
Completely cold. Like, completely cold.
Brilliant. So I'd probably have sent them some material in the past. I'd have said, like, John, obviously I've sent you this information about what we do. You've clearly booked in, so I take it as of interest to you. What are you hoping to achieve from today's call? I'd kind of start from there. If they're more combative, it really depends on the industry I'm in. So for example, if I'm selling agency services, I might say something like, hey, look, no doubt you've already been shopping around the marketplace. You see there's lots of agencies, freelancers offering you something. And look, I'm not going to promise you the earth, but what I do want to understand is, what are you ultimately looking to achieve with this call? And how could I best help you today? And I'll let them sort of riff on from there. It really comes more to what it is I'm actually representing at the time, whether they're warm or cold leads. But I think, yeah, if you've booked them in cold, understand your value proposition from the beginning, know what is the end outcome you can deliver, and keep steering it towards that. Because if it's a B2B conversation, they're only in it for one thing really, which is to grow and develop their business. So keep the conversation around the numbers and the metrics and the things that the business would want to achieve, rather than them individually. That makes sense.
Like if they try and deviate from, hey, I don't know, you tell me what you have to offer, like, etc., like, you go back to the point of, hey, why is it that you actually booked in a call? Because no one does anything for no reason. It's like,
yep,
must be here for a reason. What's the curiosity? What is the thing? Is it pain that is creating that intent for you to join this call today? Is it more that you're wanting to get something or information, etc.? So it's appealing to their self-interest, what you said at the end. So going back to what the agenda of the call is, like numbers. Hey, we're just here to see how we can help you get to the numbers, like 10 new clients, 20 new clients, 30. So just bringing it back to their own self-interest. So I don't really talk about frame too much, setting the frame, because I feel like that would confuse them. But I feel like finding the intent, if you do it the right way, that kind of does set the frame already. But yeah, is there anything else that you'd say for this?
I think just keep in mind of what are the messages you've sent out prior in the emails, even in your DM scripts. What is it you've said? So if you've gone and promised 10 to 20 clients, I'd be safe to assume that they're on that they're on the call for that reason. And if anyone ever does give you any objections on the front end, don't buy into them. There's a reason why they're on the call. As Azam said, they have an intent. No one's here to waste their time. It may feel like it sometimes. If you've not been on enough sales calls, you might think like, why are they now on this call for? Why are they giving me this? But they're not wasting their time. They have a deep pain or a desire to solve something. But all I would say is, don't combat it too early. Don't feel like this is now the point where you lose the call. Be very calm and confident that they've showed up. So just go back to the frame of what you've told them you were going to do before and reiterate that point. So as we said, if it's offering 10 to 20 clients, just go over your kind of pitch and offer very minimally again to make sure that is the reason they're here for. and they'll clarify. And then it's good to then set the scene of how you want to run the call.
Yeah, no, 100%. And with the structure, what I don't want to do is kind of involve too much of logic.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, interaction is about two humans and how you feel, and it's one of those kind of following your intuition.
Yep.
At the beginning, obviously, you wouldn't have that intuition, but you know how you have a normal conversation with your friend. It's about that feeling that you're getting, and then that's what you lead the conversation with, rather than thinking, okay, this is what I should say next. You should know all we're here to do is seeing how we can help the person. We know what the guarantee is. We know what we're offering, and then just take it from there. Let's move on to diving deeper into their pain and their problem. Let's say, for example, Ryan, they said, "Hey," and there was a little motivation. I'm sure. Yeah, it is exactly the same for everyone. So yeah, let's say, for example, they said, "Hey, we're struggling with lead generation at the moment. We've been struggling for, the accounting niche. They struggle with not being able to grow their firm properly, and too much time going into the day-to-day work, looking after existing clients, administrative work. That's what is stopping us from growing our firm." So how would you probe that? And how would you ask one or two more questions to go slightly deeper?
Yep. So I'd be looking at what's it already causing, because there's always going to be a pain they've got, but it's going to be causing things on the side that keep bleeding over. So, for example, if we're speaking to the business owner versus an employee of the business, they're going to have different pains that they're facing, whether one's got a role on performance and has to keep certain KPIs going unless he loses his job or a promotion, or the other side of it is the business owner directly that is stressed out because they're having inconsistencies that are not allowing them to plan and forecast enough where they can grow the business, and they've got a lot of uncertainty. So I'd be looking at how their lack of ability currently to take the actions they want because they haven't solved the deeper rooted problems, and understanding how is that currently holding them back with the progress and the goals they've got. So if we're looking at, again, let's think of an example. If we go with an ecom brand, and they come on the call, and maybe their pain is that they've tried loads of freelancers in the past, they've tried loads of agencies, then what? Then I'm going to dive deeper, and I'm going to say something like, well, look, clearly I take it you're on the call because you're open-minded enough to see that the problem's not solved and you're looking for a solution. They go, yeah, absolutely. And just give me a rundown. What does it currently look like right now with the day-to-day, with the ad account and the way it's performing and the current results? And they'll tell me, and then I'll go, is that something you want to remain? Do you want it to remain in that current position? And they're obviously going to go, well, no, I want it to grow and develop, but at the moment I'm getting held back because of X, Y, Z. And I'm just going to keep probing into what are the current side effects of their poor performance. And they'll just keep telling me what it's doing with the inability to grow, how it's causing issues for their profitability, how they're not too confident in scaling. And then eventually I would always lead to the bigger, I will try to understand their bigger goals, link it to the pain. Because if I understand why they've got so much pain, it's because there's normally a desire they want to reach some end outcome. Because it's the cost of ambition, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That they clearly want to go somewhere, but where is it they want to go? So I just want to understand from their perspective, where is it they actually want to go? And usually in the pain finding section, when I'm asking them these questions, they'll start to reveal it, and just tell me it's causing this issue, it's causing that issue. Then I'm going to ask them, I don't really, you guys may have heard this before in sales trainings when they go, well, how does it make you feel? I try to stay away from the feeling side of it, especially in business. Yeah. Don't get too caught up in that because they'll see it coming a million miles away. Be more of an inquisitive professional friend. That's sort of Azam said, be more like a friend. You're absolutely fine to challenge them. You're absolutely fine to ask more questions if you don't understand where their current problem is. So I would just go back to, again, trusting your own intuition, just to go, I don't really understand where they are coming from. What would help me understand their position more? And just ask them that question, whatever that might be.
I feel like a lot of people over here, they might not have ever been in those environments where they ask those questions or dig into something too much, and they might come off the wrong way as in like, why are you asking me so many questions if you haven't even set the frame properly? So I guess what you were saying is diving deeper into their pain would potentially look like, hey, okay, I've understood that, you have tried Facebook ads in the past, and obviously that is affecting you quite a bit right now, that you haven't had a proper lead gen system as of the past 6 months. So let me ask you this, John, like, I'm just curious, like, is it affecting other areas of the business as well? Is it more, affecting your employee relationships, because maybe payroll is getting a bit difficult? So asking in a curious tone, just to kind of go into what the problem is. And you also mentioned that, hey, start maybe with the goal itself. So maybe start with the intent, meaning as in get the pain and ask them, hey, where would you like to get to? And then reverse engineer from there into pain.
Yeah.
And you can revisit the pleasure again. This,
Yes.
I don't know if this is getting too complex for people. Yeah, can I just get a confirmation from everyone? Is this making sense? Like, 1 if it is, 2 if it isn't, and we'll kind of try and make it more simplified. 1, see ones. Okay, quite a few ones. So this is fine then. Okay, perfect. What we've said so far, and I always love trainings that are very, very simple, and they keep repeating the things over and over again. So you can't get it wrong. Start off, hey, why are you here? Like, what's made you jump on a call? Dive deeper. Or maybe if you want, just get there, hey, what's the goal over here? Okay, I understand this is the problem. What's the goal in the next 6 months? Okay, tell me, okay, your goal is 10 new clients in the next 6 months, but what is actually holding you back? I know lead gen is holding you back, but how is it affecting other areas? And then you go deeper into that, then bring it back to a quantifiable goal. Now, Ryan, they might say, hey, we just want to have that mental peace. They want to have that a bit of freedom. But when they say things like that, there's nothing quantifiable that you can, kind of take in that stage where you're showing them the offer. So how would you get the quantifiable goal out of them, and maybe even go into the feelings without being a weirdo?
Yeah. So the more to get into this is I'm gonna dive deeper into their situation, still kind of understanding what have they tried in the past, what are their previous experiences, just to get them to give me a lot of the information that they've gone through. They're going to just give me a rundown of what they've been through already, and from there I can then tie up everything they've done to their desired state better, if that makes sense. So for me, if again looking at a goal, let's look at it logically. A goal for a business is to make more profit a lot of the time, or serve more clients. And a lot of the time their goals are always to get away from the big pain of this inconsistent system they've got that's causing them issues every day. So sometimes I'll be what they call future gazing. So I know ahead of time that if I solve this problem, it's going to open up more cash flow and give them more availability to make better investments and to bring more to their business. So I'm going to be going into the things that they're specifically wanting to do when this problem's solved. So if we hypothetically said we've solved this problem, you've got the solution in place, you're working with the experts that know what they're doing, and you can now have dependable results that you can week on week scale on and not keep stopping and starting your business. Where do you think you could take this in the next few months? What's the ideal outcome for you where you'd like to take this? See what they say. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but they can just sit back, reflect, and go, well, I'd love to be here. Or this would be my end outcome where I'd love to be. They'll tell you something where they want to be and what they'd like it to look like or feel like or be like. And from there, look how tangible that goal is. Does that make sense? Is it a real goal?
Yeah.
And use your own sort of logic and reasoning with when people tell you these things. Don't do the thing where everyone goes, yeah, it makes sense, yeah. And you're like, I have no clue what that means. So make sure you also understand their goal when they tell you what they'd like it to look like.
Absolutely. Because otherwise you won't be able to do this part if you don't understand their goals. But I guess we've already covered this. What's stopping them? You might have asked that question already in the pain digging phase, but here's another option. You could do it after getting their goals as well, or within that pain digging stage. It's completely up to you. But the main thing is summarizing. Humans, they want to be felt understood. They want to be heard. And one thing that I recently kind of went through again, that basically in business, it's not about differentiation, it's about connection. So this accountant that you're potentially looking to work with might connect with you more. They might connect with me more. They might connect with one of the sisters here who are hijabis, and or one of the other brothers that have big beards more. Like, it's just whoever you connect with. And the way you get that connection is you feel like, the other person understands you and you're speaking the same language. One of the things that actually you told me when we first started to work together is influence is about feeling. If you can make the other person feel like doing the thing that you want them to do, even it's called influence, it's something for them, not for you, because then it's convincing. But anyway, if you can make them feel like what you want them to do, then the whole process is much, much easier.
Massively. I'll just touch on that because I think that's a really good point. Again, I don't know how many of you are brand new to sales. I take it if you put a one if you're brand new to sales or just only getting started in sales.
Everyone, to be honest, exception.
Who feels a bit nervous and a bit funny in the tummy when you get on a sales call then? Because that's the real thing to look at, yeah? It's getting past those initial nerves and putting yourself outside of the situation of the sales call. One thing I say to everyone is your life exists outside the sales call, so do not worry. Any dramas you've got, any stresses you've got, anything at all, put it in a bag, leave it outside. It will be there waiting for you. But when you're on that call, you've got to look at that person, the other screen, is the most important person that you need to speak to in this moment. Because if you connect with them authentically, just be yourself and just know what you're actually doing and know what the end outcome is that you can deliver and believe in that you can deliver that, you can just trust yourself to kind of sit back a bit more, take a big deep breath in and just know you're speaking to another person that has something they want to solve that you promise you can deliver upon. Sounds logical, I know, but it is that case. And part of it's getting through the reps of just getting on that call, grinning, bearing it, asking the questions where it feels uncomfortable and you kind of want to just get off the call and be like, oh no. That will grow you more than anything else in this world. It will very much ground you, and you'll start to realize it's just the way it has to be done to help people, because we all have a frame and a viewpoint before the calls, and people have all these preconceived ideas of what a sales call is and isn't and how it is going to be or isn't going to be. That's up to you. It can be as a pleasurable, nice experience as a cup of coffee with your friend, or it could be absolutely stressful as anything, depending how you want to frame it in your mind. I just want to put that out there because when I first got started as well, it was a nerve-wracking thing. You're trying to remember a framework. You're trying to remember some words to say. You're trying to remember a question. You're trying to tie back an emotion here and do this here. And there could be so many things. I would just say keep it stupidly simple. They're on the call. See why they're here. Understand their situation. Just be inquisitive, curious and inquisitive. And as long as you know ultimately what it is you are offering, you yourself can sort of just trust yourself to ask and present the right things. Don't worry if you get tongue twisted. Don't worry if you slip upon your words. It's human. They don't care. It's all happened to all of us. And I'd say that's probably the biggest thing to overcome. It's just getting past that stage.
To add to your point, because I am literally your student, so I've learned through the stages being very nervous, being in a place not knowing what to say. And I asked you, I remember we were working with that tax guy, I forget his name.
Carter Cofield.
And his mindset was, okay, the way I've gone through so many years of business, being successful and doing the calls and all that stuff, managing sales teams, is just by journaling, writing things down between calls. If these guys do cold calls and do outbounds, which sometimes at the beginning, until you get your first 800 pound to 1,000 pound client, until we can put into ads and etc., they have to do that stuff. But it can be kind of challenging up here. So writing things down, and you told me if your mental the way you speak to yourself is swearing, even though I don't condone that, just write it down. Like, I feel angry at this person. Why did he say that I'm not interested in a very rude way? Write that down and find ways that you can manage to do the numbers and hit the numbers, because the only way we move forward is hitting the numbers. Yeah. Like that. That was a very, very good point. That you keep going back to mindset.
It's mindset. It's a mind game. It really is. I mean, I really believe in the world we live in now, even more than ever. It's a mind game. We don't live in the same economics as we used to, that some of our parents or family have grown up in. It's a mind game now. It really is mind over matter in this world now. And it's just very early on, people either make or break themselves when they get in the sales environment because they put too much pressure on themselves. The lead's not doing that. The offer's not doing that. You'll be doing that. So what I would say is a really good exercise as well is to maybe, again, journal anything that you've got going on in here. You want to clear this as much as possible, because the less focus you can have, the harder it is to help the person on the other side of the call. So have a notebook, write things down. Yeah, I don't condone, I try to keep hold of my tongue. I don't condone swearing too much either. I do it for my sins. But if that's what you're honestly feeling, don't bottle it in. Just write it there. It's for you. Burn the paper after if you have to. But you've got it out of your system, and you can then see where that's coming from, or you've just taken it out of just your head. Because it's so crucial to have a clear mind, because you'll see people coming on the call won't have a clear mind a lot of the time. They won't always just have complete focus, and that's why we more direct that or influence that to help them make the right decision. Sales, especially in the UK, has always had an interesting perception. People think it's, you've got to be this kind of slick talking, fast walking, know-it-all. You really don't. You don't at all. Just be calm in yourself. Know your product. You have to make sure that if I'm on a call with you and I can Google what your offer is and I can give more information quickly about that than you could, there's a problem. Just know common questions, understand the basics of what the FAQs are in your industry and cover them. Anything else you don't know, be like, hey, I actually don't know the answer, I'll find out. So never also feel that you need to know everything. Don't spend hours and weeks role playing in and manufacturing ideas that you can or can't do it. I would say the big thing is get on the calls as quick as possible. That is the number one thing. Get on there as quick as possible. Don't let the fear build up. And also just don't buy into any biases that other people have told you over the years as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. The approach that I teach them is just brute force at the beginning.
Yep.
At the beginning, just brute force. Get the 30 consultations done. You'll get the 10% closing rate. Whatever happens, whatever questions they might ask, might not ask, you'll know after doing the 30 consultations, because 30 is a number. After starting quite a few offers at this point, you will be able to know what that niche thinks like, the market thinks like. There's nothing new that's going to come up after the 30 consultations that you take. So you pretty much have a solid business after you get those 10% closing rates after that. So just take the calls, brute force. Doesn't matter how you feel. You don't need to work too much on your mindset. And one thing that's really helped me is not putting too much importance on each lead, because I know, hey, I'll get more. It's just the way the world works. But anyway, long story short, the thing that carries the most weight is, Ryan, the I help statements that I've given them.
Okay.
If everything goes off plan, come back to the I help statement. I help. It's a guarantee. It's a risk reversal. They have nothing to lose. It's a B2B conversation. Like in a B2C conversation, okay, it makes sense. Maybe they're not ready. But it's a B2B conversation with a done for you service.
Yep.
You're doing the work for them. All they're going to get is either growth or they get their money back. So push them if you need to. Not in a weird way, but like I have a guarantee. Like, just be yourself and rely on the guarantee if you forget everything else. I'm saying don't forget everything else, but in case you do, just rely on the guarantee and put their context on what they've told you, their intent, their problems, their goals, attach it to the guarantee. Would you agree with that? Like the guarantee, especially in a B2B direct response environment, the guarantee carries most of the weight.
Yeah, I agree. And especially starting off later on, I tend to lean less on guarantees later on down the line, but this is after this is once you've built your business up. You may not have to sell it as heavily to start with, but when you do get going, at the end of the day, what's in black and white and what you're offering and what you're going to give them is an end result that they want. You're willing to back your word and your company against it. That shows a lot of conviction within your offering. Why would I second guess you if you're going to give me a guarantee? I would buy more of that than anything, because I'm looking at how can I mitigate risk. Everyone else is saying I want money for this, money for that, but won't give me anything in writing. You give me what I want, attach it to my pains, attach it to my goals, attach it to my situation, and I have a guarantee. You ask me for the business, I'm going to say yes if I'm on the call for the right reason.
Yeah. You know, one big thing that helped me with guarantees was that it's a cold friendly offer.
Yep.
Meaning that tomorrow, if this business breaks, I can just write down another offer on a piece of paper and just go to any cold market, give them a guarantee, and start a brand new business. So coming from a 9 to 5 type of mindset, it gives you that confidence that I don't need sales assets, I don't need a big name, I don't need a brand. I can just go into any industry with a brand new offer and just be relying on this one statement that I've just written out of nowhere. So I felt like a lot of comfort came from having a guarantee and knowing that it's a cold friendly offer. For the people that don't understand what cold friendly means, is basically they don't need to know you too much. They don't need to like you too much. They just need to see what's in it for them and if they make sense. Because most of the people in this program have seen my videos, got to know me a bit better through the videos, through my sales assets before buying from me. But because this is a B2C conversation, but B2B is completely different. You are not the buyer that you're selling to, by the way. Always remember that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, there's something I've heard years ago. You don't line your own pockets. Yeah, just because you might feel uncomfortable with it, forget that. It's all about them. Take your personal preferences as well. Like I said, put it in the bag, leave it outside. When you're in that call, in that moment, you're representing your business. You are your business at that point. You're not. That sounds weird. You're not you. You're your business. B2B, it's really simple. We don't need to get into the touchy, feely, emotional. What are you doing on the weekend? What are you doing after this? All that. They don't care. And you don't need to care either. It sounds cutthroat, maybe, but it's really not. It's just how the business world works. And as you develop a relationship over time with these clients, you'll get that. You'll get the relationship from the results you get. So as long as you focus on delivery and achieving what you set out to do, you'll have great relationships where it will develop from there, and you will have more of that over time. But yeah, to start with, your guarantee and a nice friendly offer goes a long way. Sometimes people try to ask for too much without giving enough in return. As long as it's an equal exchange, you're asking for a fair price, for a fair value. I can't argue with that. It makes sense. It's logical.
Yeah, 100%. And before we end, I'd like to cover 2 quick points. We'll cover objections after this, but just one quick point about, a lot of people here might be shy, might have a bit of social anxiety. I speak to just everyone. It is a bit daunting. And so did I. Like I had it bad. I don't know if you remember when we started to work together.
Yeah.
But you just said be yourself.
Yeah.
Awkward, be awkward. And
you got to.
what I did. And until to this day, I don't do chit chat. I don't do chit chat. Every single person on this call knows I don't do chit chat. I got straight to the point on the call. Because that's not me. Then it just seems fake. I don't care at all about small talk, right? So just be yourself. If you're awkward, just get straight to the point. And I was speaking to someone like who was kind of helping me train one of the closers a while back, and he said, "Hey, if your closer is someone that cannot smile naturally, don't make him smile." Because this guy I was training, he just wouldn't smile. I was like, "Come on, what's wrong with you? Smile a bit." But he wouldn't smile. And the guy he advised me that at the start of the call, when you're kind of asking for their intent and setting the frame, just make a light joke. Hey, if you see me pulling this very straight face or being very, very serious, just know that it's just how I am naturally. It's nothing. I'm not, angry at you or anything like that. So basically, acknowledge what you're like and just own it. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Would you agree with that? Is there anything that you'd add?
I think you're bang on. If there's particular insecurities you've got or things you're aware of, and if you're hypersensitive to it, just make a light joke of it. Poke fun at yourself with it, and it will be absolutely fine. What was that? I saw a question coming as well. What if they send sales call? They'll tell you later.
Right. I think this is more of a question for the objection part.
Yeah. Okay.
We want to come in. How do we prevent them from leaving the call without closing with us? Any tips for that? Yeah, this is a good objection handling question.
I can go to that now if you want. So again, a few ways to look at it. First of all, for those of you who know what a frame is, then I would look at the frame you've set when you start the call. Some people set their frame like, "Yo, Azam, great to meet you today, brother." Da, 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 da. Obviously, my intention today, get an understanding of where you're at, where you'd like to go, if it's a good fit that we can work together. If so, I'll run you through the ins and outs of how we can do it directly with you. I'll show you how it works. and then we can just make a decision whether it makes sense to move forward or not. Sound fair enough? Some people do that sort of opening, and from there, then part of the objection handling could be going back to the frame you've set and reminding them of what you've set out to do and your offer, and then you bring them back to realizing that, oh, they did agree they could make a decision, and you can then ask them to simply do that. There's other ways to deal with it. So some of you may have an offer where you give a discount or a promotion on the call to take action. And again, making sure you've explained it correctly. If you have an objection on the back end, then you maybe haven't conveyed your offer correctly. Let me just make sure I've got this. I'm going to read it once more. If someone else got to later, they want to pay and commit. Okay, if they go to me, someone goes to me, oh yeah, right, it's great. Just I'm gonna have some time. I'll pay later. I'd be like, yeah, sure. Any reason you can't do it now? I'm just gonna ask them. Don't feel that that is like a smack in the face or anything. There may be things going on that they've got to now call the bank. They've got to move money. They've got to get money out of an ISA. They need to go do this. Just make sure you understand where it's coming from. Is it an emotional or is it a logical objection? If it's logical, they have to go get the money out and they have to go do whatever. Then you can't. There's no objection handling per se to do that. It's just logical. If then they start holding and if they start giving you other reasons why they're going to be delaying, I just want to think about it, and that, then we can start seeing that maybe we haven't done a good enough job in the first place to convey the value where it makes sense for them to make a decision. It's difficult. I'd love to. I can generalize these things. The easiest thing for me to do is understand more of the context of your actual offer, your business, and I can help craft that more. I don't want to kind of give a just general overview because I want to be able to help you guys a bit more, but it's more what's caused that is what I look at first. There's a root cause of that objection, and then it's reverse engineering that back to go, okay, you missed these steps here in your presentation, and if you missed those steps, we can say this statement here. But I don't want to kind of just give you something off the riff. If I don't want to give you like a cookie cutter answer.
That's why I tell them to record every single call.
Yeah.
Number two is don't care too much about what happens in each individual situation, because all that matters is just taking the full 30 consultations.
Yep.
3 of them will definitely close and they won't say no after you have the whole call with them. And Kashif has a question. I've been speaking to construction companies and many of them are busy and booked for months. In most cases, they don't have the resources to grow. They may jump on a call of curiosity. Would I still need to discuss the problem, or do I just sell my marketing services? I didn't understand the last part. The first part to your question is some of them, they don't need the work. Like that's, bro, with any business, some of them will hate you. Some of them just don't want your services. Some of them just don't have the money. Some of them just don't like you. But the 1/5 that do, they will buy from you without giving any excuses. That's the simplest way I can answer it without knowing the full context behind the situation.
Yeah, and one thing I'd add with construction companies, I assume you're in the UK. If so, it's weird. They'll always be busy. They'll always be either lacking resources or never having the time. And I think it's understanding the market specifically, what it is that you're actually selling to them. Are you going broad construction, or are you going for a specific niche of construction? If so, then you can take, the better you understand the individual's pain in their day-to-day situation. For example, I know a lot of house builders in Norfolk, where I live, and they're forever taking on new projects, but they also want to grow, but they don't have the back-end resources. So they want to market, they want to grow, but they lack the office stuff. So they have a lot of reluctancy to then pull the trigger, because as much as they'd love more work, they don't want more paperwork and more time at the desk. So sometimes you have to maybe build the offer that factors those things in. Like Azam said, you have a done for you. So when you're speaking to these people, they're not, especially in the UK, they're not used to a lot of done for you offers. In the US, they are more, but in the UK, they're very much used to the traditional business model still. So when you can come in with a guarantee, you come in with an end outcome, and you offer the whole solution that they haven't got to worry about, that's huge. So I would just look at, what niche of market are you going in? And if they show up, highlight where you know their problems are already, because if you're speaking to the same people all day long, as Azam said, once you've done about 30 calls, you'll just know who you're speaking to all the time.
Mhm.
And then when you make assumptions and you explain situations, they'll always resonate with it because it's where they're at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. One of the things that I'm doing right now, because I'm starting a new offer, is just using ChatGPT. Just using ChatGPT and asking, hey, this is the niche that I'm going after. What are their biggest problems? And also doing a simple Google search to funnel hack other people, my potential competitors, when I do start this offer. For example, typing in marketing agencies for construction companies, and then just seeing the sort of wordings that they use. So what I, interestingly enough, found out about accountants was what they struggle most with is time, nothing else. It's just time, spending time on the wrong things, administrative tasks, focusing just on the current clients rather than also having, opportunity to grow. So that's their problem, and that's the wording that I'm going to use. But anyway, long story short, this was, just a kind of a brief show of what Ryan can bring to these calls, and hopefully you found it useful. And I'd love to get some feedback on WhatsApp if you want to continue these calls, and I can of course ask Ryan if he'd be open to doing that. We can come up with a way of doing these weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you guys need. Because I'm going into the second offer heavy in January. It's not that to take my attention away completely, but I just want to do whatever I possibly can this month to set things in place that everything will be smooth moving forward, so I can put slightly a bit more attention onto something else. But anyway, I just wanted to end this presentation off of what have I learned from Ryan, what have I learned from other mentors that I've had so far, which is simply, guys, clarity gives you certainty. What I mean by that is clarity on how much you want to make, how much time you want to put. That will give you certainty on what you need to be doing next. Now, a couple group calls ago, I told you about the next 3 steps, as in life should always move forward in the next 3 steps towards the right direction. So the next step for everyone on this call, except the 1 or 2 people in phase 3, would be getting your first 800 pound, 1,000 USD, 1,500 Canadian client. So then we could put that into automation systems like lead gen ads or any sort of ads and scale from there. So effective actions would just be doing the outbounds or whatever it takes. Even Ryan, we've added 2 new systems over the past week, a new LinkedIn system and an email system. And I've given them a lot of ways to do the outbounds. So just getting that first client, so then we can have enough cash and confidence to then put it into ads, etc. And then second point is make effective actions easy to do. And this comes from me being lazy, because I know that I need something sustainable. I can't just do the typical hard work constantly. I need to know what the effective actions are, as in for you guys right now, the outbounds, and just make the outbounds easy to do. Up until 2-3 months ago, Ryan, I'm not sure if I told you this as well, like when we were doing sales agency stuff, between sales calls, I used to have like TV on beside me, and I used to just lie down on the floor and just watch TV between calls, just because I was a lazy guy. Like I'm gonna find a way to kind of do the work and also chill. But you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your lowest system. System meaning the set of actions that you do at the same time, the same way, knowing what the end goal is. Effective actions is what I like to just close us off with. Ryan, one of our first calls you mentioned, reason why you're not getting to your goals is not because you're not working hard, it's because you're working hard on the wrong things. So forget about the busy work, do more of the effective actions. Anything that you'd like to say before we end this?
We've covered a lot. I won't say anything more for now. If we do work together, it'd be great to work with you all. I will do my most to help you all. I hope you got a lot of value from it. And what Azam has said completely hit the nail on the head. I'll just reiterate again, clarity gives you certainty, and that's also what we give our prospects on the call. Yes, they have the clarity, they can take the effective action and pay you.
Absolutely. It's great learning from you. Yep, absolutely, Shah. Just for jumping on the call, guys. Really appreciate it, Ryan. hopefully we can potentially take this forward and have you do these group calls weekly on a bi-weekly basis. So everyone on this call, I need you to give me feedback on WhatsApp. If you want to have this continue on weekly or bi-weekly, more feedback you give me, I'll get that done. Yeah, thanks so much, Ryan. I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, Azam. Thanks, guys.